What's going on, Cowboys gang? I'm Crispy, and thank you for tuning in to Victory Formation Media, BFM for short, but here for long. In today's major storyline, as you know, the Cowboys, the Micah stuff is dying down. The Cowboys need a headline. To the Dallas Cowboys, we're moving on from Osa Odighizuwa. Standout defensive tackle has been a key piece in our defense, and as free agency looms, us as Cowboys fans may be without another defensive tackle yet again. We may not be able to afford them. So let's break it down. First, let's talk about what Osa Odighizuwa even brings to the table. In 2024, he racked up 47 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 12 tackles for loss, proving that he's one of the more disruptive interior linemen in the league. I hesitate to say dominant. This isn't necessarily dominant numbers. Osa definitely has been one of our more consistent and reliable tackles that we've had on this team for a while, for sure. But again, hesitate to say dominant, but you can definitely say one or more disruptive interior linemen in the league, as the stats show. He's always been quick off the snap, solid against the run, despite the narrative of Cowboys being unable to stop the run. Yes, I'm not going to say that that's not necessarily true. Absolutely true. But individually, Osa has been one of our standouts in that regard in defending the run. I mean, could have been worse. He's definitely been a crucial piece in not only Quinn's defense, but also with Zimmer. You kind of saw him coming along a little bit towards the end of the year, which, kind of side note, I feel like that's always been the case with Osa. He's always been the type to kind of really catch on towards the tail end of the half. Doesn't necessarily start hot. He's more of a slow burn rather than a fast burst, if you will. So again, he's just definitely been solid, consistent over the years. But the problem with him being so consistent and reliable is that when you play this well, other teams take notice as well. And that means that he is due for a big payday. I mean, the experts are saying this, that he's going to probably be demanding, not necessarily top dollar, but definitely be coming in at a pretty penny. I mean, no, according to Blocking the Boys here, he's actually going to be projected at a whopping, for just 3 years, $63 million for a contract, racking in at $20 million per season. $20 million per season. That's not something that Stephen Jones is privy to. So that's definitely worrisome. I mean, this is where things get tricky for us, right? This is exactly what we kind of come up to every year. Kind of, we should expect this by now, but I don't know why we're always caught off, not necessarily caught off guard, but caught by surprise with things like this, or when things like this come up, because we always find ourselves facing tough financial decisions, right? I mean, we just got Dak Prescott done, we got CD done, where Micah is definitely looming, but they're talking about potentially offloading him to another team for potentially peanuts, to be honest. I mean, knowing the Joneses, we're not gonna get our fair shake on that deal. So no, we're definitely running out with limited cap space. We're not going to be able to afford everybody. That is just the nature of the game, nature of doing business in the not for long league. You got to kind of play this game where you find out who to pay, who not to pay, when to pay them is definitely important. But it always kind of feels like, again, we're always in this position where we're having to pick and choose who we have to get rid of, instead of necessarily being proactive in a way that this could have been preventable. We could have definitely gotten Osa done last year. You were already dealing with the Dak stuff. You could have definitely already brought him to the table and kind of gotten that out the way as well. So you're not having to deal with this where you're going to have to be paying Osa pretty much $20 million per year just to be able to have some depth as a defensive tackle because, I mean, who are we going to field? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but this doesn't seem like a Steven kind of deal. This very much feels like Osa's going to be walking because this team does not prioritize paying defensive linemen in particularly the defensive tackles aren't really on the top of the list in their to-do list. As you can see, we historically have left defensive tackles walk. Two names that come to mind is Malik Collins, David Irving. I know he was good. He kind of had his little devil's lettuce issues. Not judging, but that was the case as to, I believe it was David Irving, right? Correct me in the comments. I think it was Randy Gregory. I think both they were probably lighting it up together, to be honest. I know that Randy had his fair share of Shmer Shoshana issues, and then also Irving had his little issues with patching the Dutchie with the left. So the D and David was for. So let's say that the Dallas Cowboys do let Osa walk, right? Who steps up? Like I said before, who we're gonna be limited in depth in the depth chart. So who steps up? Mozzie Smith, last year's first round pick, or 2 years ago, I guess now. Has the potential, but hasn't fully developed into a dominant force that we've been kind of expecting. Yes, you can say that, defensive tackles is kind of that position that and a little bit more time to kind of really acclimate yourself into the league. But I mean, he hasn't gotten there yet. We've seen flashes. It's been more of a flashes in a bucket, not necessarily consistency or level that we will be able to confidently feel, as at least as fans, confidently feel that getting rid of Osa is going to be a viable replacement, or Mozzie is going to be a viable replacement for Osa if he does inevitably walk. I mean, and then if you look at it, the team could look at veteran free agents like Hassan Reddick could be a viable replacement. I mean, he's going to demand that Jerry Jones special, just coming off of a torn ACL. So definitely seems right in the ballpark of what the Joneses would do. So Hassan Reddick is definitely viable. Maybe like a Walter Nolson from Ole Miss, maybe. Probably round 2. Not at 12. Not at 12, please. Please, not at 12. But just maybe somebody later rounds, or at least somebody to keep an eye on, or like a Kenneth Grant. Names like that, definitely people keep an eye on that could potentially be drafted by Dallas. Not saying that they will be, or not necessarily going to say where they're going to land. To add kind of fresh blood and talent into the rotation, can kind of do both. I mean, I feel like the Cowboys are going to bargain basement shop when it comes to free agency. Definitely, absolutely foresee them looking at defensive tackles out of the draft. I mean, maybe some later rounds. Maybe someone like Jordan Birch. From the Ducks. I mean, maybe that would just be cool to see because I'm a Ducks fan, but just as an example, there's absolutely, I can 100% see the Cowboys going in that direction, especially with Matt Eberflus and the way that he likes to run his defense. He kind of likes that strong, kind of beefy defensive tackles. That he likes a really good, solid defensive line. So, look for the Cowboys to really draft potentially heavy on the defensive side, at least towards the later rounds. I foresee them. I mean, it's kind of negligent at this point if they don't go offense at least 1 or 2 rounds. If like an Abdul Carter falls to you at 12, you are sprinting to that podium to put his name in, if they still do that anymore. You are handing Abdul, you are, as soon as that clock strikes 3 minutes, you Abdul Carter, and you hand that bitch in. Don't see somebody like that falling to 12. So you will have a better chance of probably finding somebody like Burden, who may McMillan, who may fall to you at 12. I mean, Burden may be there for you at 12 too. And Ashton Genty. So you will have a better chance of getting powerful or a more impactful offensive player in the earlier rounds as you would opposed to the later rounds, because this draft isn't really shaping out to be too cream of the crop, if you will. It's kind of lesser compared to other years, so you will have to definitely play that game of picking and choosing what positions you go to, because it's going to be absolutely important, at least this year compared to other years where you've had that luxury of having such deep drafts where you're able to pass on players here and then maybe get a comparable or maybe a watered down version of that same player. You're maybe able to do that a little bit better in other years, but this year you're really gonna have to make sure that you are sticking to your board, BPA all the way, every single way. I mean, you really can't fuck around this draft, because this is not a deep draft to be doing those games with. If you have a player that you have high in your board that checks out, that kind of fits the mold of what you're looking to do, it's kind of to definitely be very interesting to see Shoddy and how he develops his offense. I mean, I definitely foresee us, at least if not in the first round, definitely getting a running back in the second. We probably will go receiver first, to be 100% honest, if other rumblings are proven to be true. More on that soon. Stay tuned to VFM, baby. So we'll see. I mean, depth is going to be an issue all the way. Replacing Osa is not going to be a simple task, something that you can just go out in free agency and just get somebody that can come in and build that same level of production, do the things that Osa was able to do for you, as opposed to maybe a washed up defensive tackle that was good on another team, but as soon as it gets to Dallas, not the case no more. Lastly, let's say that, can't really blame them here. They do opt out of resigning Odighizuwa. They will be only left with half of them. I mean, they will be left with very limited depth chart options when it comes to defensive tackle. I mean, I think a couple Carlos Watkins is up for contract. I don't see them bringing him back. There's other defensive tackles that I think are on the block. I really can't think of any other tackles that we have at this very moment, but it's gonna be limited. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you don't get Osa. But my point, what I was trying to get to, I'm sorry, is that if we left Osa Odighizuwa walk, he's gonna definitely be coveted within the league. We're definitely having other teams try to vie for his services, even within the division. I see all our division rivals potentially picking up Osa. I see a case for the Giants doing it. I see a case for the Eagles doing it. And I absolutely see a case for the Commanders doing it, with Dan Quinn always trying to poach our free agents, even our current players. He's trying to poach Micah as we speak, probably. They still text from now every now and then asking about how their day was going. So, I see him most probably, or most probable, going to the Commanders and being part of that Dan Quinn defense once again, where not only do they have the capital to do so, I think they have like $120 million ish Don't have the numbers right in front of me to be able to confirm that, but I believe it's around 100 plus 120 million in cap space in order to sign him. So that will be an easy pickup for them, being able to get one of the top defensive linemen in the league, bolster their unit. And I mean, they've already been to the NFC Championship way sooner than we've ever even sniffed it. So, you know, adding more pieces could definitely get them over the hump. You don't want to see Osa twice a year within your division against a division rival. You'd much rather have someone like Osa Odighizuwa on your side. But in rare cases, I struggle to see how the Cowboys get this done. I mean, you're already top heavy. The topic of the offseason is going to be Micah and his contract situation. What are we doing with Micah? Are we signing him? Are we trading him? The joys of being a Cowboys fan, am I right? So until we get more news on what's happening with Micah, I don't foresee anything really happening with Osa, at least until then. At least, I mean, there's just no way, guys. I don't see Osa coming back. This is the type of situation where we are up against it. We are going to need free agents in other positions. We are going to need to find a way to get Micah signed. Yeah, this is just one of those deals that we're kind of effed, eh? Say, I also has been nice, brother. I mean, you've done. I've cheered for you for a while, since you've been in the league. I seen your value, but just a dude. I'm just a dude. So, Cowboys fans, what do you think? Should Dallas find a way to pay Osa, or is it smart to let him walk and allocate that money elsewhere? Let me know in the comments. Definitely excited to see what you all had to say about this. I mean, I'm definitely glad to share my opinions more with y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Cowboys updates. Until next time, stay locked in with Victory Formation